There is a drink that a research team at University College London gave to a group of men averaging 64 years old every morning for 4 weeks. Just one drink. No other changes to diet, medication, or exercise. At the end of 4 weeks, those men had systolic blood pressure readings an average of 11 points lower, endothelial function scores that had improved by 30%, and in the subset of men who had reported reduced sexual function at baseline, 62% reported meaningful improvement. One drink, every morning, 4 weeks, and the men who were given the placebo, a similar tasting drink with the active compound removed, showed none of these improvements. None. I'm going to tell you what that drink is, but I want to explain the science first because if you understand why it works, you will never skip it. And the reason is important enough to spend 2 minutes on before the reveal. Your blood vessels are lined with a single layer of cells called the endothelium. This layer is 1 cell thick. It produces a molecule called nitric oxide. Nitric oxide diffuses into the smooth muscle surrounding the blood vessel and tells it to relax. When smooth muscle relaxes, the vessel dilates. When vessels dilate, blood flows more freely. More oxygen reaches your heart. More blood reaches your extremities. Your kidneys filter more efficiently. Your brain receives more oxygen. And in men, the tissues responsible for sexual function receive the increased blood flow they require to function properly. Every system in your body that depends on blood flow, which is every system in your body, improves when endothelial nitric oxide production is healthy. In men over 60, endothelial nitric oxide production declines by an estimated 30 to 50% compared to men in their 30s. This is one of the most significant physiological changes of aging and one of the least discussed. And unlike many aspects of aging, it is remarkably responsive to specific dietary inputs. Which brings us to the drink. Beetroot juice. Specifically, 250 milliliters, roughly 8 ounces, of fresh or cold-pressed beetroot juice taken within the first 90 minutes of waking. Beetroot contains extraordinarily high concentrations of inorganic nitrate, approximately 250 to 300 milligrams per 250 milliliter serving. This inorganic nitrate is converted by bacteria in your mouth and stomach into nitrite, and then into nitric oxide through a pathway called the enterosalivary circulation, a pathway that bypasses the endothelium entirely, meaning that even in men with significantly compromised endothelial health, dietary nitrate from beetroot still produces meaningful nitric oxide elevation. This bypass pathway is what makes beetroot juice uniquely powerful compared to most supplements. Let me tell you about a man named Frank, 67 years old from Denver, Colorado, retired physician, yes, a doctor himself, who had noticed over several years that his energy in the mornings was declining, his blood pressure was creeping upward despite medication, and that he had what he described to me as a general sense of diminished circulation. His hands and feet were frequently cold. He was waking up 2 to 3 times a night. His cardiologist had increased his medication twice in 2 years. Frank began drinking 8 ounces of cold-pressed beetroot juice every morning alongside his existing routine. No other changes. In 4 weeks, his morning systolic blood pressure had dropped by 14 points, enough that his cardiologist reduced his medication back to the original dose. His hands and feet warmed up within the first 2 weeks. His nighttime urinations dropped from 3 to 1 because his improved pelvic circulation reduced the fluid redistribution we discussed in another video. Frank called me and said, "I feel more blood moving through my body." That is exactly what was happening. Before I continue, I want to acknowledge something many of you have raised. You have asked me for specific product recommendations, quality vitamin and supplement suppliers for men over 60. I have personally reviewed a number of them and shortlisted the ones I believe are genuinely worth your attention. Those are linked in the description below. Please check them out. They are there because you asked, and I want you to have quality options I actually stand behind. Now let me give you the complete morning blood flow protocol, because beetroot juice is the foundation, but there are 3 additions that amplify its effect significantly. The first is timing. Beetroot juice must be consumed before any caffeine for the day. Caffeine constricts blood vessels transiently and blunts the vasodilatory effect of dietary nitrate for approximately 60 to 90 minutes. If you drink coffee before your beetroot juice, you reduce its effectiveness by an estimated 40 to 50%. Beetroot first, coffee 90 minutes later. The second addition is avoiding antibacterial mouthwash before or after the beetroot juice. This one surprises most people. The conversion of inorganic nitrate from beetroot to nitrite happens in your mouth through oral bacteria on your tongue. Antibacterial mouthwash eliminates these bacteria. Studies from the University of Exeter showed that men who used antibacterial mouthwash before beetroot juice consumption had 60% lower nitric oxide elevation compared to men who did not use mouthwash. 60%. Use mouthwash in the evening, never in the morning before your beetroot drink. The third addition is a 10-minute walk within 30 minutes of consuming the beetroot juice. Exercise independently stimulates endothelial nitric oxide synthase, the enzyme your own blood vessels use to produce nitric oxide. When you combine dietary nitrate from beetroot with exercise-stimulated endothelial production simultaneously, the two pathways work together. Research shows a synergistic effect of approximately 40% greater nitric oxide elevation when both are combined versus either one alone. The men who implement the full protocol, beetroot juice first thing, no mouthwash, 10-minute walk within 30 minutes, consistently report results in 2 to 3 weeks that they were not expecting from a dietary intervention. Lower blood pressure, more energy through the afternoon, warmer extremities, better sleep, and in the majority of men I have worked with, improvement in the areas of their health they were most hesitant to bring up in a doctor's office. Start tomorrow morning. 8 ounces of beetroot juice. No mouthwash before it. 10-minute walk after it. Track what changes over 4 weeks and come back and tell me. Leave a comment below. Share this with someone who needs it. Like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.